It's so good to know you're there, tuned in to your favorite tech show on television with Don Pedro Agambi. And of course, you know what we do here every week. We look at issues, trends, developments in the global ICT industry. All right, you're in for a great show today. Stay with us.
From Nigeria receives the first prize in the AISI GTZ TV category for his program, ICT Africa. Congratulations, Don Pedro.
ICT Reporter of the Year, Electronic, Don Pedro Agambi.
In case you've just tuned in, it's your favorite tech show on television. When we come back from this quick break, you'll meet a tech personality of the week.
The coronavirus is among us and can make you very ill. Symptoms of the disease are a high fever, cough, and difficulty breathing. It is important to understand how you can get the virus, so pay close attention. You can get the virus on your hands by touching something, then touching your face. The virus cannot enter the body through the skin but only through your eyes, nose, and mouth. You can also get the virus by being too close to someone who has the virus. The virus can remain in the air for a short while and can reach your face. The coronavirus is among us, so we will therefore need to learn how to stay healthy. To be safe, do the following 5 things. 1. Clean highly touched surfaces regularly. Remember, the virus can be present on surfaces and objects, and cleaning those surfaces with soap or disinfectant will kill the virus. 2. Don't touch your face with unwashed hands. Remember, if the virus is on your hands, you can easily transfer it into your body by touching your face. 3. Cough and sneeze in your elbow or mask. If you carry the virus, it will prevent you from spreading it in the air or on your hands. 4. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds or with hand sanitizer, preferably after touching objects. The virus hates soap and sanitizer and will die. 5. Keep at least 2-meter distances. Remember that you can get corona when coming too close to someone who has it. In a place where it is impossible to maintain the 2-meter distance, wear a mask. It is important to do these 5 things wherever you are, at work, at a shop, at a market, at church, while traveling, and so on. If you do this always and everywhere consistently throughout, and you will protect yourself and your loved ones from the virus. So remember, clean high-touched surfaces regularly. Don't touch your face with unwashed hands. Cough or sneeze in your elbow, tissue, or mask. Wash or sanitize your hands often and keep 2-meter distance. Keep this up and you will be safe.
Our tech personality of the week is the Chief Executive Officer of Sidmach Technologies, the company that creates technology platforms that make work smarter and life better. We had an interesting conversation. You will like this. as you know, the world is currently facing a pandemic. The whole world is affected, the industry is affected. What lessons do you think that we have learned from this, or what has this taught us as an industry?
It has had very salutary effect on our psyche and changed the way we work and live on a day-to-day basis. If you ask me, probably forever. It's an unfortunate pandemic, but we will live with it until we can get on top of it. Just like people got on top of flu, people got on top of influenza. They also had their days, but today they've paled into insignificance. And we hope that down the line, the combination of technology, AI, skills in the health sector will help us overcome this pestilence. I call it pestilence, not pandemic. But when you say for lessons, it has been quite salutary and sanguine in the sense that today, even in the houses we come out from, the way we live has drastically changed. But let's talk generally, particularly from my constituency, technology. You see that what he has told us generally in life is that we should be ready for change at any time. Change, if you like, can come as a result of being systemic, can also be endemic, where you are in a continuous cauldron of change from one state to the other. And also, it can be disruptive. The COVID-19 pestilence, like I say, has been quite disruptive in so many ways. But in the vortex of that disruptive nature, we also learned that you must adapt, because God Almighty has created man to dominate the environment. So no matter what life throws at us, we must aim to brush aside and get on top of it, and life goes on. So the first thing is that we must learn that this is change. Change can be systemic, can be endemic, can be disruptive, but we must always adapt to get on top of it, and that is where we talk about being agile. This is the period for us to be agile in the private lives and public lives. What we do in business, this is the time to be agile. We borrow from the cart. No matter the position you put the cart and drop it, it must land on its force. If you turn it upside down, it will land on force. If you turn it backwards, it must land on force. That is the element of agility. We must adapt to be agile. Those are the key lessons that we have done, because you need to do that to survive.
Okay, thank you very much. What do you think that the IT industry could have done differently in this period of pandemic?
Yes. What could you have done better? Could have been preparation for the unknown. We should have been more prepared than we were when this pandemic hit, with the result that in government attempt to get on top of this, we should have played more prominent role at that beginning than we did. I did not say we didn't, but we should have been more at the forefront, leading from the trenches with government. And I think eventually we caught up with that. But what we think that should happen is that we should be more prepared for the unknown that can happen anytime. This wouldn't be the first or the last pandemic. It can come in different shapes or in different forms, but we should at least try to be more prepared for it and then be more impactful on our people than we were at the beginning. But on the average, we have managed to cope with all the uncertainties of the day, and also knowing that I would have wished if the COVID-19 specific solutions and services were more democratized through technology in Nigeria. Out of the major cities, we still have a huge challenge in this democratization process. So we must go back to the drawing board continuously to see how we can improve what is there, because there's room for a lot of improvement, I tell you.
What is the mission and vision of Sidmach to the Nigerian, not just the IT industry, but to the economy?
Thank you very much. I was going to open up my statement by also saying that we're not just looking at our domain, our constituency, but we're looking at the generality of Nigerians. First, let me tell you that our vision is to be the live transforming partner to Nigerians and the rest of the world, be it in business, and that's why I did not say in business to be, but even out of business. Because in the set of, say, looking at the COVID era and all that, all the things we have tried to do in a little ways unannounced wasn't strictly for business. Some of them were just CSR, all right? Corporate social responsibility in our ways that we've done that. So, but our vision is to be the life transforming partner for Nigerians and the world at large in whichever way we can do that. And we do process that through our mission, which is to create innovative technology platforms that make work smarter and life better. So it cuts across the gamut, not just a tech thing. So when we look at an issue, then we try to see how we can deploy tech to make some improvement in that area with the hope of making people live their lives smarter, have more convenience, and therefore make life better in these very tough times in this country. So that is what we do. And that is what guides us. Every day we wake up and come here, or we go back, or we are at home because we work remotely too. Every time our consuming mission and vision is what I just stated to you. We drive the mission by looking at the vision we have, and we get inspired by the vision, looking at our mission. So it's complementary.
Sidmach Technologies, is known for its strides, in innovations, especially, providing educational solutions, indigenous software, and lots more that has helped to sustain not just the IT industry again, but also, the Nigeria's economy. Can you share with us some of the key achievements, of Sidmach in this sphere?
Let us go back to some 26 years ago when we came in. We were not satisfied with the days of, say, for example, to register for exams, you have to go through the manual process with all the uncertainties of manual transportation from the hinterland to be able to bring it up here with the challenges of the postal system and then all that. And we knew quite a lot of would-be candidates and students who got unlucky because their documents didn't get where it's supposed to get to, unlike our days. So we set about as early as 1994 to begin to think about what do we do? How do we improve the process? And I can tell you that we pioneered a transformation process that led today that everybody takes the e-registration, be it in the educational gamut, be it outside the industry, in learning and teaching. It became a matter of course. When we pioneered it, and because I don't have the permission, I would have mentioned institutions, primary institutions in this country. But you know what we do with our partners, WAEC, JAMB, NYSC, and others. But a particular client, after making presentations and looking at the state of telecommunications on which the IT was going to piggyback to carry this at that time was probably at the infancy of the transformation we've seen today. And the chief executive looked at his directors and turned around and said, look, this thing will not work. Where is the access to the hinterland? And that was said, sir, we know this is going to work. And he hold us to it. It's okay, fine, it's going to work. So you go source the finance to do this job. If you so believe, because you said, you've told us a lot of things, you believe in Nigeria, you believe in the children, you believe in the future of this country. So you also believe in yourselves. Go source the funding and make it work. I guarantee you that whatever we have put on paper, if it works, you get it. And guess what? They were preoccupied. People in Lagos, well, Abuja, to some extent, Port Harcourt, Kaduna, and they will do it. What about those in the hinterland? How are they going to do it? This is not going to work. Because then we still had the DSL, digital subscriber lines. Those are the cutting edge of technology at that time. But guess what? The day we went live, the first record that dropped, successfully processed, that dropped into the registration database came from where? Not Lagos, not Port Harcourt, not Kaduna, not Warri, not Enugu. It came from VOM. VOM is in Plateau State, not even Jos, the capital. And that had a profound effect on the chief executive then of the organization. And he said, wow, I will never forget this in my life. I hope you are still not forgotten. Those days, when you have business center, you go in there, you see a photocopier, typewriter, and if you're lucky, one computer for whatever. But the moment this thing hits the nation, the question became, where can they go and do this? And the business-savvy individuals saw the need to move in and grab that niche of the market. And that began the revolution that there's virtually no semi-urban or even rural areas. You go today, you will not find a business center because they know these pupils, these students, these candidates need these ancillary services based on IT to do what they need to do. And that created a massive employment opportunities. But we don't get credited for that.
Let's look at the area of software. Yeah. The area of indigenous software, Sidmach has also been known as a pioneer, a leader in that space. Tell us a bit about software portfolio.
Because we don't have that bold stamp on the infrastructure hardware, we've tried to really come in with our partners. For example, we are gold certified partners of Microsoft for years, if not decades, which is the ultimate. You can't get past that. Not only just for software, but also in cloud services, for which we are creating platforms. Well, that is why we say we create technology platforms. So we have transited from a company, and by the way, we are set up to be a maintenance and support company. But we have gradually transited, following what Nigerians want, the areas of primacy that they consider and where the challenges are more, that today we are a platform company, still developing and deploying those contents, solutions, and services on those platforms to make people work smarter and life better. So now, in the area of e-registration, which we pioneered, we can beat our chest to that. It has served and continues to serve the nation meritoriously. Go to JAMB today, go to WAEC today, and even the National Youth Service Corps. And guess what? In line with that also, we didn't stop there. We got engaged and partnered with the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council in Abuja to digitize the Nigerian curriculum for the children. I remember during our days in school, the curriculums used to come in, bounded copies, and then one comes to each school, and it's in the principal's office, neatly covered with a Macintosh. And the teachers have to take an excuse to come and take it, look at it, and return it back. But we're so democratized that today we have over 2,800 institutions that are directly accessing the digitized Nigerian curriculum today by the partnership we have with NITDA. And the result is that now you have teacher-to-teacher collaboration. The copy in the principal's office is no longer relevant because they have direct access to this as they download to schools. And children, our children, who matter most, also have access to parts of this so that they can prepare well to respond to their teachers. It hasn't been a totally done deal, and we are still working with NERDC to further democratize that and even make it more seamless in such a way that even content providers can interact with NERDC to ensure that whatever you want to put out there is rationalized and authorized, such that we have a good hand and the policy forward. So this we did with NERDC. National Youth Service Corps, and I don't say this with any tinge of pride, so many of our children, our wards, lost limbs, lost their lives on the road in any means of transportation, trying to go and check out for their color papers, going to check out for where they are posting and all that, because they have to go back to their institutions from wherever they are. I had my younger ones who were with me, and every day they leave my house to go and check for their posting in their schools. I have my heart in my mouth until they come back. And we thought about this. I said, wait a minute. We can't allow this to continue to happen. Remember, we said we look for ways to make us work smarter and life better. So we went to work with NYSC. Now today, apart from what they do in school, when they come back, they sit in the comfort of their bedrooms, on their beds with their smartphones, their laptops, and all that. They do their registration, they do their confirmation, they do their printouts, letter of color. They do everything from the comfort of their beds if they have connectivity and access, or the nearest business center. And on that day, they confidently march to the camp pre-COVID. When I served in Kaduna, I got to the camp at 8 o'clock. I wasn't registered till past 8 in the morning. I wasn't registered till past 10 in the evening, in the night. But today, by what we have done, they get to camp in the morning, and by 4 o'clock, you are all registered. And you don't need anything, just your thumbprint biometrically. You identified your assignment, room assignment, hall assignment, size of uniforms, boots, and all that is pre-processed. And they get in there, and by 4 o'clock, they are in all their accommodation, and they are smiling, or probably preparing for the evening workout. Now, these are the kind of things Sidmach does. So where do I start? Where do I stop? For pensioners, we went in there. Remember, there was a time you go out in Abuja and you see our dear brothers, sisters, fathers, and mothers who had the singular sacrifice of serving our armed forces. There was a time you see them under shacks and all that as destitutes. But we went in with the Military Pensions Board at great risks because there were parallel pension boards, okay? But we went in there at great risks and we sorted them out. Now today it's something that has receded in our memories. So this is everywhere we intervene to make work smarter and life better. That is our consuming passion. And then we create platforms.
And you have also created platforms, smart cities, working smart, smart communities.
Go to schools, they see what we're doing. And let me tell you, we are coming out, we have already come out, but it is gradually permanent. We have a game changer as I speak with you, post-COVID. But we developed it and incorporated the challenges of COVID into it. And it is a learning platform that encompasses primary, secondary, and tertiary. And it is called Luminate. It's the rave of the moment right now. And over 100 schools have signed on to it. And we're still taking it to government and others to say, listen, we can make this the standard. And guess what? We threw some AI over it so that the data can be crunched, the planners can see what they're doing, and you can follow the progression of children from primary to secondary to tertiary in one fell swoop. So you can plan, you can extrapolate, but you can also look back to see the pattern. And what are we talking about? The currency of today, data. That's what we're talking about. As I sit here, by the effort of this company and our partners, our respected partners, we adore them and we worship them because they give us the opportunity to be the best we can be by challenging us. I'm talking about the West African Examination Council. I'm talking about the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. I'm talking about NYSC. I'm talking about the schools who we are giving all sorts of software that really didn't sort them out. But they took a chance with us and today they are smiling. Luminate is going to change the face of learning, teaching and testing in this country. And you know, we have a challenge in school today. When you have people who are going to do their final exams in secondary school, they have what we call continuous assessment. Continuous assessment, well, they have a kind of continuous assessment, so we don't want to go into that. But what we're saying is that we illuminate from the first day and the first assignment they have in school until they are ready. The data is captured in situ as at the time it is prepared in real time. So as at the time they are going, they don't need any school to submit. It's already in Luminate, which they can mine and use. And the planners can use it. And as I tell you, over 100 schools have signed on to it at different stages. And we make it available for them to test drive. And so far, we have not had anybody say, oh, we are going to your product. Thanks, no thanks. What we hear is, when can you come in so that we can tidy up? And we're happy about it. Some private universities are also looking at it, secondary schools, and some private schools in the primary level. So imagine the data. And what we say is that for that primary partners, but we no longer call them customers. We work together, we slave together to make these things happen. Today, we have processed in the excess of 80 million records of our children and youths. And remember, they are the future. So, but if we can then link up with other of our partners and key players, we can then have a pattern that can be used, because a country without education is blind, whether you like it or not. Today, as there's a maxim and you know about it, if you say education is expensive, try illiteracy. And I tell you something, today, part of the morass we find ourselves, challenges, security and things are coming up out of the fact that education hasn't played a very key role at certain levels. Otherwise, people will be able to ask, why do you want me to go and die for you? Why are you at the back and asking me to go? So if you want me to go, let's go. And our pattern of teaching also needs to change, because our colonial masters teach their children how to think and reason. But they structured what they bequeathed to us on how to recall, remember. Just remember what I told you, no questions. And that is why you see our children, when they live here and go out there, for the first year, they struggle. Because they've left the environment of, remember what I told you. They have gone to the environment of, listen, I introduced this to you. I want to see how you reason about it. I want to see your original thought. And that's why they're making so much progress. But the unfortunate part of it here, which we don't still see today, and that's my challenge to the policymakers and the implementers, and we'll be ready to back them up technology-wise, is why would a student of an institution here depend on a handout to pass his exams or her exams. He gets the handouts from the lecturers, but for the enterprising students, they go out and read wide. They make use of the net because there are e-libraries they can access. So they come back, they add value to what was in the handouts they were given. But guess what? They barely pass. But you go in there and pour out this handout, you make an A. Is something not wrong with the system? You pour out what is in the handout, remember, what I gave you, just put it back and you make an A. But you make efforts to go out and add value to this and expand the space and march proudly to your teacher, hoping to score and be celebrated. Guess what? You just manage to pass. Because what you are writing is not what is in the handout. So we are taught to remember, not to think. So our children go there, they learn how to think after struggling for the first year. And they come back here with all those knowledge. But they get back here, even in the process of working or going back to teach, they are subjected back to a system that insists on remembering. Rather than thinking, they get confused and they pack their bags and they go back.
What are some of the issues facing the IT industry today that you think that needs urgent government policy statement or attention, as it were?
Area of access, global penetration, is a major issue. And I also mentioned to you that my sister and the head uncle, Menwa, who by the way went to my university. And that's how we joined them out at IFE. So I chaired the national broadband plan that is currently being executed, and she is doing everything she can through Menwa to ensure that. So we hopefully, and with the effort of others, we have other telcos who are also very passionate about what to do in this area. But I mentioned, proudly I mentioned Nigerian because that's indigenous. And I'm passionate about this country. It doesn't mean I don't recognize the rest. They are there and they're doing one hell of a job to push penetration. But let me recognize mine first. Then, other challenges we have is that, permit me to be little, let me make some religious references. Our Lord Jesus Christ, for the Christians, had 12 apostles, 12 disciples, and one of them was a turncoat. So wherever two things are happening, and good things are happening, look closely. The bad things will want to come across. I'm talking about cybercrime. It's a huge, huge challenge facing the IT industry. And you know what is happening? Phishing, hacking, identity theft, and all that. It's also piggybacking on the development of IT to happen. So we must watch it. And those are, it's also a major part of it. But it is not all lost because we've partnered with giants like Microsoft and Sophos to develop security solutions that help us to mitigate against intrusion by getting that and dissuading that. And we're not yet done. We're still scratching our heads with our partners globally to ensure that we help mitigate that. And we really ask government to please strengthen the muscle of the organizations, the capacity and the muscle of the organizations that are working to discourage a place like the EFCC, but it should go beyond that. We should look at what others are doing in the developed countries. We don't have to take all the time into the legislation period. We should be able to take what they've achieved and then domesticate it to serve us well, because cybercrime is global. So the things that happen in Nigeria come from way out of this very continent. But most of them, a lot come from Asia. Some come from Russia, if you like. and all that. But they hit us here. So we must develop capacity also to mitigate that and discourage that actively by being resolute with dealing out those that are caught and being resolute with punishing organizations that encourage this cybercrime. It's a major challenge. And you're also looking at the fact that if you check out that another thing that bothers us as a challenge is IT equipment manufacturing. It's not about computers. A lot goes into IT. A lot goes into IT. I don't want to make it ICT, guess what? But if you look at IT in the industry, virtually everything we use is brought from outside. Look at the challenges we're having with stabilization of our local currency. Incidentally, we have to also buy with forex. And if you look at the kind of hemorrhage that the nation is doing by way of forex deployment, we think that it's about time some of this should be doing them locally, and government should go out of its way to encourage pioneers like Cybercrime who are doing things at the IT infrastructure level in terms of laptops, desktops, and all that. We'll have to go beyond that. We need switches, we need multiplexers, we need fast cards and all that. And again, let me also mention and commend NITDA for bringing out there's a board called the Unity Board, which is going to aid a lot of things, manufacture, AI, and all that. So this is happening under this government, and we think that they should do more. To whom much is given, much is expected. We applaud them for the creative step that they, but we're asking for them to do more. Shake the rules, shake the environments, give us, challenge us too. And in that line, I am appealing to our dear president as he grapples with all sorts of challenges in this country. He should look well and deliberately work with the financial institutions to set up an ICT bank. Some of us are challenged, we have ideas of big things we can do, but funding is also part of the challenges facing the ICT industry. IT specifically for us. The Naira is dancing up and down. We still have to get forex to do that. But beyond that, like in there are countries that also have seen this and established IT or ICT ministries that, banks, that deal specifically with this sector. And they have leapfrogged. Look at Malaysia, look at Indonesia, look at what they are doing in the Far East, look at Korea. So what are we saying? We should be more encouraged. Give us a bank that I can work with, that understands me. Unlike I go to any of the normal banks we have here, they want the bank certificate of my grandfather, they want to see a copy of the, what do you call it, the one we did in 1940, amalgamation. I should bring a copy of it. They want to know the shoe size of my great-grandmother. They want to know whether we have a link to Amayana Bonnet and what he did with slavery. So these are irrelevancies to doing. Let's get sectoral, like in transportation. We should have a transportation plan that will address the look at what we're doing with the efforts, without prejudice to the effort going on at the park in Lagos Ibadan Express. That road has been under reconstruction for 20 years. Because we have to go to other places, the people, the companies have to go and get money, and the government has to cough out all the money. But if we create sectoral financial institutions that can address specific projects, they understand it, they address it. If I go to a bank now, once I tell them of a project that is not going to bring back the money in 9 months or 6 months, they switch off. Every other thing you have to try. But a bank that addresses the ICT will understand that returns don't come overnight. And then the interest rates. So they can also go to specific foreign institutions who understand what is going on. Silicon Valley is being funded by financial institutions. But when I mentioned to friends there, what you see here, they freeze. What? How many people cope? You must be magicians. But the point is that it is happening. So these are some of the challenges that are facing us. We need to establish sector-specific financial institutions that can understand our pains and limits, and government must give them the necessary partners. They don't have to fund them. They can creatively get even foreign partners that can do the funding. We will do the job, we will deliver, and the returns will come.
Wow, okay. In all that we have discussed about, if I ask you 3 things that you think that IT has done to the advancement of the Nigerian nation, what would those things be?
First and foremost, I remember when I was in school, I had 2 main sources of information. Let's say information dissemination, to even know what is happening in this country. It was either Radio Nigeria or NT. Otherwise, lights out. Look back today, including techtvng. The rest is history, so I don't want to go into. So first and foremost, there has been radical democratization of the information dissemination process. Well, by information dissemination, I'm not ignoring that there are also, like I told you earlier, where good things happen. Look a little below, you see the bad ones trying to come in. You also see that. Also, there's also been democratization of the dissemination of fake news or inaccurate news. Well, we must find creative ways to handle that. But Nigerians are more aware of what is happening thanks to IT, thanks to ICT. And that's why we are trying that we need to reach more underserved and unserved areas for this to happen. Now, we talked about business centers, creating employment all over the place. How could we have done it without IT or ICT? It's not enough. I'm just telling you where we are going. So, IT has come a long way from the days. Let me tell you a short story, if you don't mind for a minute. How did I come to IT? I was in St. Patrick's College and we went on this excursion those days to Shell BP. It wasn't SPDC, it was Shell BP there in Port Harcourt. And one of the places they took us to was their computer center at that time. It was the computer services, not IT. So I went in there and I saw this IBM machine. And it was on a day that they were printing out their payroll vouchers. And I saw these twinkling lights on the IBM 37145 twinkling all over the place. And I looked at the printer by the side. The paper was being thrown. Nobody is controlling anything. It goes, then it throws. And I said, gee, what's going on here? They said, sorry, that's computer doing the job. I said, is that what you call computer? I said, but who is telling me what to do? And they showed me some programs. So these things go in and they are turned to ones and zeros and they tell you what to do. And that thing is doing, it can print so and so. And I looked at it a second time. And I looked at that flashing lights. In that computer room, I decided we need to read computer science. I was still a secondary school student. The rest is history. IT and RDC, communications, data communications, is going to become the power to leverage and control the world. Data, analysis, AI, and the rest. A day may come, I hope not in my lifetime, when AI will produce virtual soldiers who will go and fight wars. So somebody who doesn't like you will simply send virtual soldiers. I don't like that. I want to see AI improve in the area of medicine. I want to see it in the area of economic well-being. I want to see the deployment of those great small robots that can do certain things and free people from very dangerous manual tasks. And guess what? To make people work smarter and make life better. So we have come a long way. We still have a long way to go. For example, we have a lot of security challenges. If we are deliberate in what we are doing, shape more tables through Ministry of
Communication
and digital economy. And let me also talk about that briefly. I hope my friend the minister will look at this kindly. With all the dynamism of that place, And I want to thank my president for having faith in creating that ministry. But if you ask me, you will say they have come away with their company. I think the ministry is too unwieldy for that dynamic ministry. It's too unwieldy. Communications alone is one large heap of things to be done nationwide. So I would expect things like a direct ministry of digital economy, not communications and digital economy, digital economy with Dr. Pantani. I know what we can do in this country. Can we take NYSC, join it with the National Population Commission, and put it under a supervising minister? So you can take us from birth to cradle to grave, and then crunch the numbers, the information that are coming between cradle to grave. And it is seamless in that area, which we can draw from. Sometimes I wake up and I pray for the minister because he is overburdened. I don't want him to draw. He's a hard worker, I agree, but at the same time, I don't want him spread too thin. So if you ask me, this is an unsolicited advice, my president will not bother with it. I will be looking at Ministry of Communications, Ministry of Digital Economy that will revolutionize this country and take us away from the backwaters of development. Because that is where development is. It works seamlessly with Ministry of Communications, Digital Economy, and take Nigeria out of this morass. Here we are. We don't have to face all these challenges. After all the areas with security challenges, I see Nigeria, we still need to take access, digital access, to those areas, so that we don't disenfranchise them, not by choice, but by the reality of what we face. When we look back where we're coming from, we have advanced, but we could have done better. It's about how we begin to look at local manufacture some of these things, just like my good friend Leo, as pioneer designers and others. I know Peter and the rest. And they are struggling. We should encourage them. There should be deliberate, like I said, encourage funding. Deliberate funding. Government doesn't have to. It's just creativity and innovation. We could get these things done. We encourage them. We should who can do switches, and do hubs, who can do multiplexers. Who can even empower. We should not be buying from there. We should be manufacturing solar equipment in this country, generously supported by funding from pioneers. I don't have to go to bank to go and take a loan where I will deposit my grandfather and grandmother before I can start a small place to do a little solar solutions for the unserved areas. That is not right. Look, here we pioneered with Microsoft, that global giant, to do what we call the For Africa program, where we pick graduates that have not been build skills into them. And in 6 months, they graduate from just skills. And guess what? We did 3 sets. Not one of them is unemployed today. But it costs a lot of money for the partnership. When I come to retire my financial activities for the year with FIRS, I still get taxed for the money I deploy to do startups and to be for Africa. I still get taxed by government for bringing out the money we should use to do certain things for ourselves and our staff, to train more Nigerians to be useful to the economy. The taxman say comes and tells me, that is your business, give me the tax on this money. How do you understand that? No, tell me how you can not understand that.
We can go on and on, but we want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for finding time to speak to us today. It's been a welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. That was Mr. Chijioke Eke, Chief Executive Officer of Sidmach Technologies, one of Nigeria's leading ICT conglomerates. It's a company that creates technology platform that makes work smarter and life better. We hope you found this week's edition quite informative and educative. For comments and observation, please reach us on the numbers and emails now showing on your screen. I'm Don Pedro Agambi, and on behalf of the production crew, thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. I'll see you next time.